on the eve of Teofimo Lopez against Shakur Stevenson. There was a pre-fight brawl, the fight before the fight between Tiger Johnson and the entourage of Devin and Bill Haney. Man, I'll give people some background on this to get started. So this actually started where with Tiger Johnson and Bruce Shoo Shoo Carrington, who's fighting for the WBC featherweight title Saturday night, coming on the Porterweight podcast with me and Sean. Me and Sean had picked against Devin Haney, and in picking against them, gave him a lot of credit after. I said Devin's a a Hall of Famer in my mind after at 27 years old, three division champ. Tiger Johnson, who's in Devin Haney's weight class, gave Devin a ton of props, said really nothing bad about him at all on the show. And Bruce Carrington gave him nothing but props on the show. But because we drew the ire of Devin Haney on social media, he said, it's a couch full of yes men and bitch ass, expletive deleted. And Bruce Carrington handled it one way, was very classy in his response, said, hey, I gave you nothing but credit. Just understand that before you talk about me that way, and again, good job on what you did, what you accomplished. Tiger Johnson took it another way because Tiger is in Devin Haney's weight class and basically shot right back at Devin Haney, right? And then a few weeks later, if not a few months later, went on the Ring show with Max Kellerman and those guys and proceeded to call out Devin Haney. He wants that fight. Tiger Johnson is ranked 7th in the WBO for Devin Haney's title. I wound up interviewing Tiger about it, where, again, he called out Devin, said he'll fight him in Oakland, but it was also realistic during the interview and called out Jack Catterall, first and foremost, who I believe is #1 for the WBO title. And he wants a shot at a title eliminator to earn the position to get a fight with Devin Haney, who's obviously, as a professional, much more decorated and has double the professional fights Tiger has. So, but this is kind of where it all kicked off from, was Tiger Johnson catching strays by sitting next to me and Sean Porter. You saw these clips that are going viral on Twitter and everything, Raheem. What are your takeaways as a fellow Bay Area native as well?
What you describe as happening on the show with you and Porter makes sense. Okay, I can see two guys jawing back and forth. The fighter is involved. He's got his say. And yeah, why wouldn't Johnson come at Haney the way he did, in that, he's the 7th underneath in ranking. He's in the division, top 10, wants to fight. You can get some heat generated through a back and forth, and maybe you leapfrog a few of your fellow contenders, and Haney picks you for a voluntary, or the sanctioning bodies decide that it's your turn for a shot, and you can get in there and get yourself a big payday on a big stage. All that makes sense. And sometimes these beefs are legitimate. You get in your feelings, or you hear something that you feel is disrespect and you want to respond to it as a fighter. Between fighters, I have a lot of patience for and time for people wanting to smoke. And sometimes that bubbles up outside the ring. Sometimes you even put hands on a guy well outside the ring. And I don't necessarily support that. It is a case by case basis. Things can happen. But if it's between the fighters, I'm here to listen. I'm here to assess and see exactly what happened. These guys are by definition fighters. So you're going to sometimes find a short fuse, and some quick tempers might win the day. What I have no patience for, what I have no time for, what I really just can't ever wrap my mind around is how these entourages decide that it's their place to put hands on anybody. Now you're going to support your guy. You're going to shout your shit. You're going to wear your jacket with your fighter's name on it and represent. Of course, all that is going to happen. But you're, at the end of the day, support at best, what you really should be if your fighter feels like he needs you around. If it's a Bundini and we got a Rumble, young man Rumble, or if it's just your third cousin from your once removed aunt, and that guy makes you feel like you're more at home, then fine, pay for his plane ticket and get him a hotel room so he can wear your jacket at the weigh-in. But what you can't do is decide that this is your career, that this is your credibility, your ego, your street cred on the line, and start putting hands on other people. Certainly not another fighter. That is out completely of control. You are out of pocket. You have crossed the line. You have embarrassed yourself and the fighter that you're there to support. And now you've created a problem that you can't solve because you're not the fighter. What I saw on this video, multiple videos, was embarrassing. It's outrageous. Devin Haney's not even fighting that week, and he's presenting. And I like seeing Devin in that role. I like him, Devin showing some class, looking like, post boxing career, he can potentially be a pundit himself, an analyst. This is important for fighters, how they show up, how they look in these moments in their career where they can show other skill sets, demonstrate that this sport is not just a sport of thugs or Neanderthals, but thinking men. It's a sweet science. This is a gentleman's sport at the end of the day. What I saw today, uh, it makes me mad, man. It makes me mad because not only is a fighter get an actual boxer getting hands put on him by an entourage, but on top of that, he's getting jumped
Mhm.
like this is street shit. Like, what could you possibly be thinking?
Yeah,
It's outrageous. Go ahead.
there's nothing Tiger didn't start it. He caught a stray by sitting next to us at the wrong time. He was giving Devin credit on that podcast, did nothing to take away from him. Of course, once he's called out by Devin with disrespect, he returns disrespect. He wants a shot at the fight. Realistically, it's not he hasn't earned that level of fight yet, but he's playing his part. He's doing what he's supposed to do. And in an unfortunate set of circumstances, his name is going to be bigger than ever after this weekend. But so I didn't know who started what on the day today. I saw one video that was up for hours that I couldn't tell if Tiger swung first, if he got swung on first. And then right before we came on, I see what kind of kicked it off was Sean Haney, Devin's little brother, who's 17, who said, I think on Seconds Out, he's set to have his amateur debut. He's been training in the gym, boxing, been in the boxing gym since he was a kid. I had tons of videos up on Fight Hype of Sean when he was a kid, cute kid, good kid. And he's getting his feet wet in the fight game now, sparring guys, getting ready for his amateur debut. And he's talking his shit to Tiger Johnson, and Tiger Johnson returns fire. And then somebody from Devin Haney's entourage says, that's a kid. That's a kid. And it's like, well, he's 17 years old. He's going to be a grown man within however many months, not even a full 12-month, calendar year. So Tiger gets disrespected first. He returns disrespect. And then someone from Devin's entourage takes the first swipe. And then Tiger comes right back at him and he gets jumped. And I don't think, I'm not for that, But then again, you said it's like some street shit. I know in the streets there's no rules to that. That's how shit can go down. That's how shit does go down. But this is boxing. This is the fight game, and this is one fighter who wants to fight another fighter in the ring in a championship fight, who's acknowledged he has to work himself up the rankings, even though he would love to get it tomorrow, even if he's not ready for it right now. So yeah, I think it was a classless move on the team, on the part of Team Haney, and a lot of those entourage guys, whether it's in music or sports, they're trying to do something to prove their loyalty, their worth to the star. And to give Bill and Devin some slack, Bill was not really there. Bill was busy talking to Derek Chisora, talking to Keyshawn Davis. Devin Haney is doing commentary for DAZN, but their team winds up kicking it off. Tiger throws punches and he gets jumped. So my heart goes out to Tiger Johnson for getting jumped. I mean, yeah.
Listen, yeah, I said it's like some street shit,
Right.
but we're not in the street. These so-called rules or lack thereof don't apply. You're in the theater at Madison Square Garden for a massive show where your fighter, if you're in the Haney team, is broadcasting. Show some level of class yourself. Let your fighter be your guide. Now, to be fair, a subsequent video shows Haney himself, and I'm only eyeballing this. Like, I don't think all black guys look alike, so I'm pretty sure that that's Haney. But It appears that Haney himself got involved in the melee, which again betrays a certain type of mentality that makes you want to back up your team, and you see your little brother involved in a melee, and of course, as a fighter, you're going to switch on and get after it. I wish he had been able to show some restraint and not get involved in that. But when I was a young man and not even a professional fighter, I could see myself in those scenarios on more than one occasion. So I can't be too hypocritical on understanding how those reflexes work. But that's why you don't put your fighter in that position. That's why you represent the guy that you came there to put his name on the back of your jacket and support in whatever he's doing. And in this case, he's a broadcaster. And I don't care who you are, unless, even if you're another fighter, really, this rule applies. But if you're not even another boxer, to put your hands on a professional fighter, especially in a dogpiling, jump him type of situation, all of this, there's no such thing, Sean, as disrespect verbally to this point, right? If there's no women and children involved, nobody's getting spat on, nobody's getting, essayed, or something isn't happening that actually crosses the line, there's almost nothing you can really say that would justify jumping a guy, dogpiling a guy like this whose professional career is on the line. You break his hand, you bust his orbital bone, you do anything that could hinder his actual career. And it's not only is it actually criminal on the one hand, but it is a travesty. Like, let's think about how difficult it is even to get in the number 7 position in
He's an
Devin Haney's
Olympian.
division.
I know most people watching this know this, but he was a 2020 Olympian. He's
This,
yeah.
this is what I'm saying. Like, you work so hard to get out of difficult circumstances, even if you're not growing up poor, even if you're not growing up, the old. It seems like everybody in boxing has a story to tell about how hard they came up. Even if you weren't in abject poverty or something, no matter what your initial circumstances were, boxing is the hardest game to get into, and you got to fight the toughest road to get yourself in position and to have those kind of ambitions and to get yourself to where Johnson has gotten himself. And then if anything were to happen in a melee like this, it would be a travesty. It would be something that would bring a tear to my eye for a kid to be derailed by something this nonsensical. We have to think. We have to think like this. Come on, guys. And to your point, Bill Haney was trying to stop it. And Bill Haney is one of the biggest talkers, one of the biggest woofers. He'll try to get you out of your game and get into your head and definitely get headlines and get the cameras trained on him. He knows where the line is, though. He immediately knew what he was looking at was not appropriate, not only not appropriate, but absolutely needed to be stopped immediately. I didn't see Bill get involved at all once the melee kicked off. All I see him doing was trying to pull guys away. This kind of thing has to stop, man. It is absolutely out of any semblance of appropriateness. Like, these guys should be banned. Like, this footage should be reviewed by all boxing commissions, promoters, networks, and anybody involved in this thing, save Devin Haney and Johnson, should be banned from events. Period. Anybody throwing a punch, anybody grabbing anybody involved in this, putting their hands on another professional fighter based on what might have been said, you got to go. And I'm not even upset if we're turning this over for criminal prosecution. That's how serious it is. You don't think about what is actually happening until something really bad happens. What if his jaw gets broken? Somebody stomps on this kid in a way that he can't fight anymore. You really cannot allow this kind of nonsense to go on in the professional sport of boxing at an event of any magnitude, but this is a massive event of massive magnitude, and everybody on the Haney team should really, if not just be embarrassed, excuse themselves from any further events because you're not representing your fighter well. Devin Haney is a smarter guy than this. He deserves better than this from you. He's got a way higher trajectory than the path you're putting him on. The way you're presenting what this team represents is not only embarrassing, it's really it's really a shame. It's like I want to shout shame, shame, shame. You know you're not ready for this. Sometimes as you ascend, you got to let people fall away because they can't breathe the air of this new altitude. That's what I'm looking at right now. And I see that Sean Haney is an amateur and he intends to be a professional boxer. He's finding his way up through the ranks. Well, my man, this is a real serious lesson for you to learn. That was that was not just amateurish what you did. That was bush league. That that is a lesson for a young man to learn today that hopefully he never has to learn again. There should be harsh consequences for this, really. And listen, not to go on too long, but let me say, in all transparency, had I been there, if I were in that room in that moment, I'd probably have my phone up. My reflex as a journalist, to be fair, and when I thought about that, I thought I was embarrassed for myself. What I should really, and I can't say that this would have been my immediate reaction, would have been my hindsight reaction, maybe. I would like to think I would have thought better. I would have liked to think that my immediate reaction would have been to pull guys off if I see one guy getting curb stomped or jumped on by four or five different guys. Well, that ain't YouTube footage. That's an assault. You know, if two fighters are going at it, one guy shoves the other guy and they get into it. Well, that's YouTube content. That's boxing. That happens. Shouldn't happen. But at that point, that's something different. But what I saw here was an assault. And I would like to think that us in the boxing community would have jumped in and pulled everybody apart. But all I saw was cameras up and people feeding on the frenzy. I can't even say in all honesty that in the moment, I wouldn't have been better than that. Although I hope and would like to think that in the moment I would be. But Sean, we're all kind of, in a way, guilty of promoting this kind of stuff and getting the clicks and getting the views. And I can't necessarily say I'm better than that. So this is a wake up moment for me. I would like to think that going forward, I wouldn't be involved in anything like this. And it's the jumping of it all that really has me going. You know what I mean? Like there has to be consequences, I believe, for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I've recorded about a half dozen brawls in my day and made good money off of them, off the views they generated, and felt really gross at one of the last ones I did, which was the post fight of Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson. When a lot of Shakur's entourage got into a brawl in the MGM lobby. Some people got arrested that night and all. It broke up. Shakur had to leave the podium after his best win of his career to try to get in there and everything. So, yeah, you're right. All I have to add is, because I think you made all the points that really needed to be made, was I just don't like the sycophants, the Devin Haney fans who are happy about this, are ecstatic about this. Like, yeah, that's what you get. That's for fucking around with the Haneys and everything. You got stomped out. I think that's really, really fucking lame. I don't think it's anything to celebrate one guy getting jumped. And that's it. Yeah.
Street mentality, man. This is a profession. Again, talk your shit, support your guy. That's going to be part of a combat sport, no question. This is not that. This crosses the line in so many ways, not to mention 5-on-1. That alone should make you shrink into your jackets and embarrassed to go back to the neighborhood. That alone, I think, even in the street, is a violation. But on top of that, this is not the street, bro. This is a professional event where your fighter is presenting as a broadcaster, where careers are on the line that have been trained for, fought for, pursued, and are still have great potential from the time these kids were barely of age to go to school. That's how long you have to train in boxing to even get in a position like a Devin Haney or a Sean Haney or a Johnson. What's at stake? Young guys don't think about your cred, your ego. You're trying to show out for Devin and show him how much you support him. And then to be fair, Devin himself, if that is him in the video, in the subsequent video I saw, if it is him, which looks like him, but if it were him, that again, you're triggered by just old school street mentality, family mentality. I understand. I've been in that situation myself. I've made that wrong mistake myself. I'm in no sense self-righteous or trying to act as if I'm better than that, but I would like to be. And when I see now, as a wiser person, as a more mature person, how dumb it looks, how silly it is, how much is on the line that you're potentially throwing out the window for absolutely nothing, absolute nonsense, I can speak on it and tell you that, it was dumb when I did it. I had, maybe in some regards less at stake, but also my life at stake at all times when you get involved in something like this. And we just can't hype it in the sense that, like what you're talking about, going like, "Whoa, look who threw this puddle! Look who's shooting! All that shit, dude, is stupid." And you'll see even pundits getting involved in stuff like that. And this ain't World Star. These are real fight careers on the line, and these guys got to represent themselves better. And if you're gonna show up and be a part of an entourage, be a part of a team, have a fighter's back, then you got to represent yourself at least as classy as the fighter himself and look at what trajectory that guy is on and support him. Don't be a hindrance to him. And sometimes, if necessary, be better than him and pull him up when he goes astray or doesn't live up to his own potential or level of maturity. I thought what I saw from Bill Haney was excellent. Now, I didn't see, that you can't see what happens in
I
between
think
videos
backstage
before
though
they
he might have
start.
got heated, but I'd have to watch the Zapruder film again. But backstage when shit was getting hot, because there was a part two, there was a part one, and then a part two went right near the exits by MSG Theater. So
Well, yeah, okay. So I saw that. Was Bill involved in the? Because that's where I saw who I think was Haney was in that video by the exits.
I think Tiger might have went after Bill, something like that. But Tiger
Physically,
wanted some get back and was still outmanned. So there was a part two. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, listen,
But I don't
again,
know all the details, man. You only see this shit in clips, and obviously I'm
exactly.
not there in New York this week, so I just think it's unfortunate. And I mean, one on one should be one on one if it's gonna go that route. But
All I'm saying was initially what I saw from Bill was him trying to pull guys off, and that he didn't immediately get involved
yeah, the
in
first go round in
blah
the
blah.
in the
Right.
theater itself. Yep, for sure.
Now I did see this thing at the door, which was so chaotic.
Chaotic. That's what I'm saying. I don't know exactly what was going on,
Yeah.
whether he was being restrained or was trying to stop it, or whether Tiger rushed him, or we don't have every second of what the fuck happened here. So
Yeah, exactly. And I'll just say this, there are moments where things get out of hand and your dad or your entourage like this can go left. You saw what Big John Fury did when it was Usyk and Fury
he headbutted
headbutted this
somebody.
kid in
Yeah,
the Usyk camp.
busted his nose
Absolutely
open.
busted his nose open, man. Absolutely humiliated the Fury camp. Anybody who celebrated that is an absolute idiot. It was one of the worst displays of how you could represent your fighter or your son that I've seen in a long time. This isn't just down the Haneys or black guys or street shit. It's all street shit. It's all nonsense. It's all absolutely unacceptable. I would say the same thing for John Fury. I would say, based on that, I would support him being banned from fighting events and being in Fury's corner. I think subsequently he was bounced out of the corner after that. Like that kind of shit cannot happen. Now, granted, the kid he headbutted, mind you, the kid, this guy was very young, I think maybe 22 at the oldest. Embarrassing. But at least it wasn't a fighter. Can you imagine if that had been a boxer, a young athlete, a professional who got his nose broken by some fighter's dad in some stupid back and forth of a shouting match? That's what I'm saying, man. You just have to, at some point, as a sport, as a community, whether it be gypsies in the UK or guys in Brooklyn coming from Oakland, my hometown. Like I get the mentality, but we
Manhattan.
gotta we
They're in
gotta
Manhattan. They're in the city.
there,
But yeah, same thing.
Manhattan.
One of the five boroughs.
We're coming from my hood, right? Coming from
Right.
Oakland, we got to be better than this. We can't We can't do this, man. I feel bad for Haney. I'd like to know what the fuck he was doing if that was him at the exit, like what he was even thinking, which I think I know, which is again just a reflexive reaction to seeing your family and crew in a melee. But to even be put in that situation and then have a video of you out there
I mean,
like,
to keep it real, I was being quiet about it because I'm not trying to dogpile here, but he was at a county fair a couple years ago where he punched a guy working the ride, and he had his boys with him there too. So, it's not cool.
no, I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I don't know about that situation. Sounds awful. That is you out in the world conducting yourself. It sounds like in a criminal manner. That is a whole different style of offense and different level of maturity that you need to level up from, maybe an experience that you should learn from. But the fact that this took place at a professional fight event on a week he's not even fighting and put in jeopardy the career and livelihood of a fellow fighter who just wants a boxing match at the end of the day based on what was said between camps or teams, it's it's the kind of thing that just makes me want to slap everybody in a row like Larry Moe and Curly. Like you guys look like stooges out there. You guys are embarrassing everybody. You're embarrassing where you're from, you're embarrassing where you're at, and you're disrespecting the fighters that you're meant to represent. Like, cut it out. I don't want to see any of these guys at any of these events in the future.